Welcome to yet another edition of Bits to Billions. We're bringing you this episode from Mumbai. We're here to meet an online education startup that became a unicorn. It seeks to make Ivy League courses more affordable and accessible for students and professionals. Founded by Ashwin Damera and Chaitanya Kalipatnapu in 2010, executive education startup Eruditus began with offline classes where faculty from Europe's INSEAD and the Indian Institute of Management Ahmedabad would teach a 10-day classroom program in a 5-star hotel for 10 to 15 people, mostly working professionals. But that changed in 2015. It pivoted to an online teaching model and raised venture capital from investors such as Bertelsmann and Sequoia. Today, Eruditus and Emeritus, its online wing, make Ivy League education accessible and affordable to those who seek it. They have tie-ups with MIT, Harvard, Columbia, Berkeley, etc. INSEAD was the first school they tied up with. Eruditus became a unicorn last year after it raised a whopping $650 million led by SoftBank and Axel at a valuation of $3.2 billion.
Hey, Chandra,
Ashwin,
good to meet you.
Great to meet you. Great to be in your city, Mumbai. Welcome to Bits to Billions. So as I said, Eruditus seeks to make Ivy League courses more accessible, affordable, targeted at executives, working professionals. But if I look at EdTech today, there's a lot of noise, a lot of concern that, the dream run for education technology companies in India is perhaps coming to an end. That, people are going back to offline. There's not much of online happening anymore. Would you agree with that assessment? How does Eruditus see the EdTech landscape?
I think you should break the EdTech landscape into 3 buckets: K-12, test prep, and higher ed. And so we clearly operate in the higher ed space. To some extent, there can be skepticism in K-12 as well as in the test prep space because of, COVID is kind of receded, people are going back to offline. But if you look at higher ed, especially working professionals where we operate, I think our future is very bright. Why? Because universities have gone online. Regulation in India especially has facilitated more online degrees, more online courses. And today, working professionals are all embracing virtual first. So imagine you can, sit in your home, wherever in India it is. It could be Jabalpur, and you can do a course from an MIT or an IIT. I don't think that trend is reversing.
Right. But Ashwin, we've seen a lot of edtechs take measures to rationalize and resize their workforce layoffs. I think you've also had to do that. How hard have you been hit by the current slowdown?
So I don't think it's EdTech only. If you look at the broad startup ecosystem, you've seen that everybody is looking at burn. Because in general, the world that we're in, right, the funding that was there last year or year before is no longer there. So everybody's talking about path to profitability and, reducing your burn so that you can actually increase your runway. In fact, some large companies also have reduced hiring, are laying off people, whether it's the Microsofts or Googles or Amazons of the world. So why single out only EdTech? But specifically to EdTech, there is a point there because there were some parts of EdTech, especially K-12 and test prep, that saw massive growth in the last 2 to 3 years. And many founders have projected that growth forward and hired and scaled as per that. And that clearly has to scale back, right? So there is some correction to be done, but longer term, if you think about the sector, what are we saying? Like today, less than 5% of people in India are learning online, right? Why will that number not be 25, 30%? If you look at India just today, right, only about 27% of Indians are finishing high school and going to college. In the US, that is 80%. In UK, that's about 50, 60%. In China, it's 45%. So, and that number, by the way, in India, that 27% is 40 million. In the next 10 years, why would that not double? Then there will be 40 million new students in higher education. We can't build enough campuses, Chandra, to create 40 million seats. So I think the future is very bright. And online is the way forward for this country to realize the demographic dividend. Right? Because we're not going to have the brick and mortar university seat. So we have to create skilling opportunities, degree and non-degree, in using online as a medium to take education to the masses. So I am super confident that the secular trend of online is going to continue.